Hello and welcome to this Telecoms.com webinar in association with Orca and Viaccess called Silo Busting, Paving the Way for Future-Proof TV Everywhere Solutions. I'm Joanna Palsahota, Senior Staff Writer at Telecoms.com, and today we will address how a single platform can replace multiple silos in order to streamline current services and prepare for the future. I'm joined by three experts who will talk you through the issues and take your questions at the end. They are Sefi Arieli, VP of Sales and Marketing at Orca Interactive, Philippe Rozes, Head of New TV at Orange Group, and Nuruddin Habdan, EVP Strategy and Communications at Viaccess. Our speakers will each be making a presentation on this topic shortly and will field your questions, which you can make at any point during this webinar at the end. So without any further ado, I'll hand you over to our first speaker, Sefi.
Thanks, Dewinder, and thanks everyone for joining us for this webinar. We decided to launch a webinar regarding silo busting because it became apparent to us through our interactions with operators that after operating a service for quite a while, innovation and service velocity have become challenging in environments where there are multiple service silos. So today we would like to go with you through a number of topics. We'll start by explaining what are information silos and actually why operators do feel the need to have them. And then we'll discuss what happens when an operator encounters multiple silos in their service deployment. We'll then share with you a few steps in how to collapse those silos when and if you find yourself managing a number of them. And in order to tie it into the over-the-top experience, we will also provide pros and cons on adding over-the-top services to an existing service, and perhaps that should deserve a silo as well. Afterwards, we will be happy to host our customer from France Telecom, who will share with us their experiences in merging silos and the benefits that they've reaped from that process, and they'll share with us their plans for the future on their unified service platform. And at the latter part, we will be happy to introduce you to the Viaccess Orca TV Everywhere solution, which can address a lot of the needs of new service providers in this field. We will be on the line at the end for live Q&A in the event you have questions. As always, we will start with a story or a small cartoon depicting the challenges that are often encountered when attempting to drive a service or actually do anything across multiple silos. And you can see that while each silo in itself is perfectly sound, getting something done between them is a real challenge. So what actually is a silo? Well, you can see that we've drawn on old reliable Wikipedia for a definition of an information silo. And at the end of the day, as many of you know, this is typically a system which has very little or no interaction with other related systems. Information exchange between silos is often very difficult, and they are fully designed to operate within their own context and none other. So, pop quiz. Who knows the answer to why operators have multiple silos? Is it A, they need to address new proprietary devices? Is the answer B, the service is rolled out over a new network type? Is it answer C, operators launch new silos when there's a new audience type? Answer D, new silos are launched when there's an organizational silo behind it? E, when there's a need to launch a new service quickly and we don't have time, so hurry, 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 let's launch a new silo. Answer F, all of the above. You have 3 seconds to answer. If you've been in the business for a while, I'm sure that you've all accurately indicated that answer F is the most commonly found answer, and you are now eligible to move on in the webinar. So, creating a silo. It's actually quite tempting because setting up a silo is actually pretty simple to do. You don't need to deal with too much integration. Everything is brought in and deployed by whoever you've contracted to deploy the system. It's a short time to market, no need for involving too many third parties, no need to interweave ecosystems. They're fairly low upfront costs, basically just the cost of the system without that much involvement in cross-system integration and complex functionality. So it seems that it actually is a pretty good idea. So I find that quite a few operators have in their day succumbed to the temptation of creating new silos, while others have inherited silos by way of market and geographic consolidation. The problem is that while keeping separate silos is a great form of denial, the truth is that you're eventually faced with a grim reality. First of all, you do wind up with a distinct system for each silo. Now, when I say distinct, it means that these systems could be of different generations with varying protocols, different database structures and data sets, which means that you have different people who need to be involved in their maintenance and upkeep. While this is good news if you're a union worker, labor costs are actually a major drain on the operating budget of many operators. You also encounter multiple redundant integrations into a single OSS-BSS, or in the other case, you have multiple OSS-BSS that all need to be maintained and upgraded and tested. So this is actually quite time-consuming, and this is even more frustrating when you're trying to run a dynamic service against the competitive market. You'll also realize that when you have separate silos, these actually require multiple supply chains to support them, which means that the number of vendors that you have to meet, negotiate with, complain to, are multiplied several times. And again, who has time in the day for all of that? Multiple silos also means typically that you have to install the services on different hardware systems which have their own life cycles and need to be depreciated and replaced every now and again. The processes of registering a customer, for example, in one silo may be a different process from another silo, requiring customer care to maintain multiple consoles in front of them. And perhaps the most painful for an operator today is that there's significant overhead when you want to implement technological evolution. This can be, for example, virtualization of the servers, supporting IPv6, and adding a new business model to the service. At the end of the day, multiple silos does mean much heavier organization. So how do we get rid of these ugly silos once we have realized that we have them? Well, it starts with reviewing each existing silo for the required flows and components. This is a process that may take a couple of months, but you'll be surprised at what you can learn. Many legacy systems are exactly that, a legacy from a different age. There's plenty of room for improvement, and that can be documented for the future. The next step is to identify the macro processes that take place within each silo. This is also a very important step that will help prepare the following steps. Examples of such processes that need to be identified could be customer provisioning, content provisioning, authentication, etc. Armed with that information, you can then proceed to identify the cross-silo enablers that are common to all the silos in your service. Just as an example, content discovery is something that is probably done or should be done across a number of the silos in your service, albeit slightly differently for each one. Therefore, it stands to reason that this should be external to any specific silo and be connected in a universal context across all these service types. The next step is to reduce or minimize the proprietary nature of each silo to that which arises from the unique characteristics of the device or network. For example, if a device can only receive a single proprietary protocol, there's not much that can be done about that. However, this does not necessarily mean that the servers that support this device need to be proprietary as well. Each proprietary interaction should be reduced to the bare minimum. After mapping all that, we can then replace the redundant systems with a single system that supports multiple service interfaces across the devices that are currently in service and those that may come into service, allows channeling content to specific devices or specific services that are supported by these devices. This single system can implement different service flows according to the device ID. So, for example, if different content protection is implemented in this device, the system will know how to encrypt and decrypt the content accordingly. This single system will also maintain a single consolidated view of the customer so that you as an operator have the advantage of looking across your service and understanding which of your services is more popular, where are the customers spending their money, and your marketing team will be delighted at that information. The last point is that this single system will actually simplify the administration. That means that the people that you hired to actually work on this system will have more time to look forward and plan new services instead of spending their time maintaining the existing servers properly. So when looking at over-the-top services, the question is, to silo or not to silo? On one hand, the easy way to look at it is to say that this is a dynamic market and there's an urgency to launch a new service. We have competition threatening our business. We have our end users clamoring for new services. So let's run in a new silo. It'll be a faster setup. The engineers guarantee it. Devices are proprietary anyway, so why not just hook them up to a separate silo? Our legacy systems did not anticipate over the top and therefore cannot support the business models that are required. And, you know, it's over the open internet anyway. We don't have control like we did in the past, so there's too much of a difference between legacy and future. The result from that is that you're stuck with multiple silos in parallel forever. You can't achieve cross-service convergence. You can't effectively leverage the bundle of services. And each and every silo can be removed from your customer's favorite list in favor of a competing service. So we're here to tell you, resist temptation. Don't give in. It's tempting, but you shouldn't do it. First of all, collapse your existing silos onto a unified service platform. Gain efficiency, gain focus, and build your over-the-top service on top of that unified service platform. By doing that, you will achieve a consistent, sustainable, customer-focused service. This service will be future-proof. So whatever new devices that come online will not threaten your business and will not pull your subscribers to a different service provider. It is consistent. You'll be able to offer similar functionality across the different devices, reducing the confusion on the part of the customers as to what is available where, and allowing them to fully enjoy what they've purchased on each of the devices that they're using. And above all, this will allow you to keep your eye on what's important, and that is the customer. Having a single view of that customer will allow you to direct promotions and offers and products directly at those customers. You'll be able to feed your personalization engines with valuable information in order to increase your ARPU. And you'll give your customers the freedom to use whichever device that they feel comfortable with and whichever device that they've just come home with from the shop. So with that thought, I'd like to hand over to Mr. Philippe Rozes from France Telecom, who will be happy to share with you his experience of collapsing the silos.
Thank you, Sophie. I introduce myself. I am Philippe Rozes. I'm working for Orange, and I'm in charge of all the TV platforms for Orange build on maintenance of these TV platforms. So first of all, some words about the French TV market. So the IPTV market developed in French very early, and today we have more customers in France accessing to the premium TV through IPTV than through other ways. So I think it's probably an exception in Europe. And we have reached around 3.8 active million customers, which is quite a lot. But it means also that because we began very early, we have today legacy systems. So we have currently one system for IPTV, one for satellite, one for web TV, and they are not agile anymore. So we wanted to move to something more cost-effective, more agile, and that's where we began to work with Orca on new TV. So we began an experiment with Orca on FTTH, and because we were convinced, we decided to go to a converged system for ADSL, fiber, and satellite. And we decided to do it for new customers, but also we decided to organize a migration of the customer we already had to the new system. And we also decided to do it preserving the biggest part of our capex. So I'm thinking about set-top boxes. So at the same time we will change the central system, and also we will change the middleware and the resident application on the set-top box in order to preserve the biggest part of the capex. So it began 1.5 years ago, and it's quite a big project. And we, 1.5 years later, launched end of November the system, acquiring all the new customers on the system. It means that in December we have put 150,000 customers on the system, and we are continuing at the same pace. January we have reached 100,000 new customers, and during 2012 we will organize the migration from the legacy system to the new system, and we have the ambition to reach 3 million customers at the end of 2012. And for that we have built today 2 Right TV platforms, and we will build 2 new platforms in order to be able to manage all these customers on the new systems. So as you've heard, we decided to converge on a single system, not a single platform, but a single system. And we have assessed different possibilities, but we definitely think that for cost reasons and for expertise reasons, it's better to have one single system. And also in terms of content management, in terms of IT, in terms of global agility for the roadmaps, we think that it's much more efficient to have one technology than to have many technologies linked by other systems. Of course, during the migration we will continue to keep the old system, but that's just temporary. And finally we hope we will switch up that mid-2013. So when we think about strategy for this convergence, so I think the first point is to go back to the requirement of our marketing. So we, in France, and that's exactly the same in Poland, where we are currently deploying exactly the same system, the same new TV system on IPTV and satellite, we will launch it in the next weeks. We have always faced the wish of our marketing that wants to have a new experience of TV. And the experience is based on a user interface that will be agile, fluid. The experience is also based on our capability to make this user interface evolve without changing anything. So I would say to be much closer to the internet standards. And we are quite at the beginning, because that's just the beginning of the life cycle of new TV, but we are very optimistic on the fact that we will be able to keep the pace with this new system and to evolve according to what the customers ask in terms of small modification to be more fluid, and what the marketing asks in terms of answering to the competition. So we think we will be flexible with this new system, and we have many reasons to be confident. And as you know, the competition is fierce, and in France especially, the competition is really very hard. And we also need to decrease our costs. And I can give you the exact figures, but we are talking about tens of millions saving in 3 years, because we will be able to switch multiple systems. So that's, of course, something very important, but I think agility, in fact, is more important at the end. And I would want to add one point. As I explained earlier, we have legacy systems, and we have spent energies, I would say we have spent millions in tuning this system in order to have a very high level of quality seen from the customer in terms of technical quality, no failure, and so on. So of course, our customers are used to that level of reliability, and also our marketing, our operation are used to that, and we have the objective of having at least the same level of quality. And that's always dangerous to say that, but today, with the fast growth I've described, we already have reached a level that is equivalent with what we had after 4 or 5 years tuning the previous system. So we are happy with that, and we want to continue to be happy. That's a very important point, of course, because customer, when it's about TV, the customer really wants reliability. So let's speak about the future now. Of course, future for us is TV everywhere. And at Tech, we have many objectives, because it's quite a tough subject. Orange is a convergent operator. We began earlier to build TV everywhere. So we have many systems. We have TV everywhere with the mobile, with ad hoc systems. And we are addressing Android, we are addressing PC, iPad, iPhone, and so on. So that's something that is today very heterogeneous, and we don't have the seamless experience we want. We are not able to offer all the contents on all the devices, and we are not able also to be precisely compliant with what the right owner expects, or we have some limitations in terms of use of contents, and it's very difficult to manage that with one single platform. And of course, this won't dramatically increase the revenues, the ARPU. So we have a really big challenge, because with quite the same revenue from the customer. We have to be able to offer a seamless experience on many devices, and we have to be compliant with the expectation of the right owners. So that's the next step for us. It will be end of 2012 in France and Poland, and we are in the process of building the TV everywhere around the right TV around Compass also, because we think that TV everywhere is an household, a family experience, but it's also a very individual experience, so we need recommendation. So we are building that now, and we are planning to launch it and to replace all the very heterogeneous system we have, and so at the same time gain in terms of customer experience, gain in terms of expenses, costs, and gain also in terms of compliance with the right owners and finally access to the content, because TV it's for TV, it's really the point. We have evaluated different ways to do it, and for these three reasons, customer, right owners, and finance, we definitely think that for the next step, the best way is to use the system we are implementing with new TV, the system on which we are investing right now. So thank you for your attention, and I'm now going to hand over to Noureddin.
Thank you, Philippe, for this very interesting testimony from one of the largest and the most innovative IPTV service provider across the globe. I am Noureddin Hamdan. I'm the EVP Strategy and Communication at Viaccess, and I'm really delighted to share with you all some high-level information about our TV Everywhere solution. Those who would like to have more in-depth details, please feel free to ask me or Sefi all your questions during the live Q&A session that we will have at the end of this webinar, and we will remain online almost as long as needed. Our TV Everywhere solution offers a unique, unified backend along with off-the-shelf suite of applications that together power a consistent, sustainable, customer-focused service. This secure, personalized solution supports both managed and unmanaged over-the-top delivery services and enables an end-to-end workflow management. But before going further into describing our TV Everywhere solution, I would like first to share with you some market data about the potential of TV Everywhere business and deployment. According to a 2011 report from MRG, multi-screen video will become a must within a 3 years time. Parks Associates found out that more than 1/5 of all broadband households regularly watch television on multiple devices, and 40% of U.S. broadband households find the TV Everywhere type of services highly appealing, with 16% willing even to pay up to $5 in addition per month for accessing such a service. With regard to willingness of subscribers to pay an extra fee for TV Everywhere, I personally don't believe this will be true in the long run. A recent survey and report from MRG, polling both operators and vendors on the level of potential incremental subscription revenues from TV Everywhere, shows that 80% of vendors and 60% of operators do actually think that or are convinced that TV Everywhere will generate no additional subscription fee. Note that for once, vendors are not over-promising, as they are in percentage more than operators to believe and say that there will be no additional subscription revenue from TV Everywhere. Nevertheless, TV Everywhere is a must-have value-add feature for subscription retention, and it can also open up new sources of revenues we can talk about later. Here we have measured by an Informa index. Informa people could explain in more details an indication of the potential for multi-screen services in 46 of the most populated countries in the world. It's a metric that measures the potential of multi-screen services in those countries, and it's a constrained metric. For example, if mobile broadband penetration was 70%, fixed broadband was 80%, but digital pay TV is only 30%, this index will show 30%. So it's rather a conservative figure, I would say. So looking at this figure, one could say that TV Everywhere will actually be deployed everywhere. What is the goal of a TV Everywhere service, and why should you as a service provider bother about? TV Everywhere is there to provide a consistent, sustainable, customer-focused service that is available to all your subscribers across the wide range of devices that they would choose to use. And while doing so, watching your content and services on various devices, they keep exposed to your service and brand, and this actually can be monetized in a variety of ways to generate new revenues. Now that you are convinced about the benefit of TV Everywhere, or I hope you are convinced, you may be wondering how easy is it to deploy and what are the challenges inherent to managing a service across multiple screens. One of the challenges has to do with managing content rights. Studios and content rights owners are enforcing rules on delivering content to different devices. And service operators need robust yet flexible rights management systems to comply with these restrictions. Another challenge is to ensure content security on multiple devices and different types of devices. And for this, service operators need to deploy a robust content protection secured over time, and in order to comply with contractual obligation towards content owners, and keep safe their content regardless of the device that it is consumed on. Another challenge is how to introduce innovation simultaneously across the service on all devices, and how to make new features and new services instantly available on all and cross devices. As an example, a use case of a VOD voucher or gift whereby you would use a given device, say a smartphone for example, and purchase a piece of VOD that you offer to a friend. And your friend will then consume it and enjoy it on another device that could be a TV set with a set-top box. For such an innovation across devices service, you need a rather sophisticated TV Everywhere solution. Last but not least, a TV Everywhere challenge is about enhancing the value proposition by leveraging cross-service bundles. And you may be surprised that already in 2007, Yankee Group published a report about eliminating customer silos and made a statement that is, to gain and retain customer loyalty, business needs to create an ongoing positive experience. And clearly, a multi-screen TV service is about creating a positive experience. Talking about positive experience, you have on this slide some snapshots. An example from Fetch TV service. Fetch TV is an Australian service provider and a happy customer of us. And their service provides a consistent user experience with consistent navigation on TV on tablets, iPad tablets, and iPhones. A consistent, sustainable, customer-focused service. And here we have a high-level overview of the foundation of a TV everywhere solution, illustrated by our own design of such a TV everywhere solution. It consists of a unified service platform that you see at the middle, which comprises several modules that deals with content management, business management, content security and rights management, and last but not least, content discovery and personalization. On the client side, you have, and this comes with included in our TV Everywhere solution, a suite of client applications on TV, on PC, tablets, smartphones, and set-top boxes. At the back end, the TV Everywhere solution interfaces with operators' backend office systems, CRM, OSS, BSS, etc. And what is interesting is that this is done seamlessly through the unified service platform thanks to open APIs. Our TV Everywhere solution supports both managed and unmanaged delivery services. It is ready to use by broadcasters, cable operators, MSOs, or IPTV service provider. And we know now for sure that all these service providers are willing and preparing launches of TV Everywhere services across the globe. Our TV Everywhere solution provides rich and compelling multi-screen services to the end user. These are illustrations of some of the use cases that are possible with our TV Everywhere solution. One example is watching TV on all screens, or buying on one screen and watching on another, of course, if content rights permit it. Another category of cross-screen services is seamless pause and resume, where you start watching on one device and resume on another. Another could be remote PVR, where you set recording from any device. Imagine you do it while driving back home. You start recording a live sport game that's starting, and when you're home, it's already pre-recorded. Finally, you have personalized services to manage personal profile and or engage in social TV activities, recommend a special program to a friend, buy a gift to a friend, search and explore, and all of it to make the TV experience really personal and safe. Let's have a look on this on a video format and enjoy this short Follow Me TV. It won't be long, it's just about 2 minutes video, but for those who are interested in a full version of a video giving a nice overview of demo of our solutions from an end user perspective, please feel free to contact us after the webinar.
So let's see a program by our partners Red Bull Media. It can either initiate an order process or start playing the asset directly, and over the wireless network the streaming will start to his device. In the background, obviously, there's a lot of complex ecosystem at work getting the video from the head end through the open internet to the device itself. And this is one of the complexities of TV Everywhere that need to be addressed. Meanwhile, Peter has reached his station, so he needs to pause the action and make sure that he gets home on time. Now, since this is really, Red Bull has provided us with a lot of adrenaline-based content, the blood is pumping, Peter's psyched to see what the rest of the movie is. He comes back home and obviously wants to see it on his big screen TV. Unfortunately, as happens, the kids are occupying the TV. Peter doesn't have a choice. He goes to the workroom and logs on to his PC portal. In the PC portal, you can see it greets him with a "Hi, Peter." he goes to his library and clicks on his previous orders. Within those orders, you can see the most recent is Red Bull's Most Daring Winter Sports, and he can resume from the exact frame that he left on the trade. This Follow Me TV scenario is one of the key scenarios in mobility of TV content, and it ensures that busy people like Peter can enjoy watching movies from start to finish wherever they are.
Hope you enjoyed this video. And back to the temptation of deploying another silo for OTT. And remember, as Sefi earlier talking about to silo or not to silo. At first sight, silo seems simple to set up, straightforward, no-brainer, no risk, short time to market, a lot of apparently advantages of deploying a silo for OTT. But it's really a bad idea. Why? Because then you have no cross-silo functionalities. It will take you longer to introduce any new service because you'll have to do it across all silos with a lot of integration. Any new device that appears that you will target or any new audience type means a new silo again. So in the long run, it incurs very high costs trying to link all the silos together and leading into an inefficient process while trying to achieve the same goal across silos. So definitely a bad idea, and we rather recommend deploying a unified service platform for TV everywhere as the one we provide. Thank you so much for listening to us, for your attention. We are now going to enter a live Q&A session, and we will be happy to answer all questions that you may have about either our solution, our view and vision of the market, or the questions to our friend Philippe from Orange about Orange services and experience. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Noureddin, and thank you to our audience for viewing. We will now open up the floor to our experts to take your questions.